So, as of now, we are 9 minutes or so away from the official start of the 2026, the final draw for the FIFA World Cup 2026. Uh, it is taking place from the Kennedy Center in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and we are here bringing you live reactions. Obviously, we can't show any of the footage or play any of the audio because of copyright restrictions, which is why this is a watch along. So you will hear the commentary, the updates, the reactions, but nothing from the actual proceedings over in Washington. That will be televised in the respective networks. Where I know for the United States, it's Fox. I don't know where it is anywhere else, but this is, of course, a big moment. The first World Cup held in the United States, held in North America since 1994, and hosted this time not solely by the United States, but also by Mexico and Canada. The largest World Cup in history, also the longest. 48 teams competing over a period of 5 weeks next summer, taking place in 16 cities across Canada, Mexico, and the United States. And we are glad to have you in here with us. Thank you for tuning in. I hope my mic doesn't sound too bad, but we are just about ready to get things underway. 7 minutes away, in fact. So the draw coming up in a matter of moments here. Sit tight, stay tuned, and we will have have the live commentary for you as it gets underway. Stars set to perform here as well. It's not just going to be the draw, it's not just going to be all of that. No, this is going to be a spectacular showpiece event that includes the likes of Andrea Bocelli, who soccer fans will, of course, be acquainted with. He sung at a couple of Champions League finals, and, of course, the championship celebration for Leicester City as well back in the year 2016. Nicole Scherzinger, I hope I pronounced that correctly, also set to perform as well as the Village People. And we will have as well some giants of American sport, I've been told, or it has been said, taking part in the draw. They include Eli Manning, Aaron Judge, Tom Brady, and Shaquille O'Neal. So this is going to be something that is very American, to put it one way, uh, as the cultural superpower of the world, you could say, hosts the biggest sporting event in the world for the second time in its history. It is 11:55 a.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we are 5 minutes away from the draw for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And now we just wait. This is we have begun the stream, but now waiting on FIFA. The Fox feed I'm watching right now, mind you, is on a commercial break at the moment. Apparently, the Big Ten championship game is tomorrow. If you see the amount of cricket on this channel, you know that despite being an American, I'm not really one who follows American sport. But now we are back. We are ready. It's a snowy day in Washington, D.C. They're showing a live shot of the White House as the snow comes down, and it's a good thing this is not being held outside. Argentina, of course, will be the defending champions going into this World Cup. Lionel Messi will have a big game tomorrow as well. They've got the Inter Miami playing in the final of the MLS Cup tomorrow night from Drive Pink Stadium. They go up against the Vancouver Whitecaps, and it's going to be the first MLS Cup, I believe, for Inter Miami if they succeed. And Inter Miami, of course, have been building a very, very strong team. The Most notable addition being Lionel Messi, but they've also had Luis Suarez and others as well, Jordi Alba, for example. But we are 4 minutes away, 3 minutes away, and I apologize if this is, we have a bit of a lack of action here, but I'm trying not to have dead air as we wait for the ceremony, for the spectacle to get underway. This is slated to go 2 hours. Will, of course, be buffered by the various performances and probably a couple of speeches. Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, will, of course, be on stage. He has been growing very close in the past couple of years to the United States President Donald Trump, uh, quite controversially, as a matter of fact. And this is a sports channel, not a politics channel, so we're not going to dive too deep into it, but I've been told that there is going to be a FIFA Peace Prize presented during the draw, and it says I've got a page pulled up from the FIFA website. It says first winner to receive the award from FIFA President Gianni Infantino on Friday, the 5th of December, 2025, and we shall see if everyone's predictions are correct. I think they're going to be, but again, not I'm not inclined to get that political uh, as we bring you coverage of this, because as I said, this is a sports channel. 2 minutes away now, and Fox is on what I hope is the final commercial break before we get this thing underway from the Kennedy Center. Glad to have you joining us, and once again, we will not be broadcasting any of the actual audio or any of the actual video from the draw on this stream. It's called a watch along for a reason. You will hear my analysis, you will hear my commentary, but the sort of kind of the point of this is to listen to it while watching the actual draw to sort of get commentary perspective on it. And so, yeah, you will not see anything other than that picture of the World Cup, or rather the World Cup as it was rendered in FIFA 22. I just blurred the rest of it out. 11:59, less than a minute away, or so they would have us think. We'll see. We'll see if the scheduling is correct here. Still on a commercial break. I again apologize to trying not to have dead air on this stream, and it will get a lot less boring once the draw and the ceremony and everything actually starts up. As the 48 teams, the 48 best teams in the world, actually, I think there are only 42 that are qualified right now because they still have to do the UEFA playoffs and the Intercontinental playoffs, which will be taking place in March of 2026. It's an interesting way to do things. They will determine the playoff slots. They will determine who goes where for whichever team is going to win the playoffs. We don't know which teams those are, but one of them could be Italy. In fact, it's Italy's last chance. The winners of Euro 2020 seemingly haven't fared that well on the world stage in recent years. In fact, they have not qualified for a FIFA World Cup since 2014. That is 11 years ago in Brazil. So if they miss out 3 years, 3 cups in a row, that's 12 years without being in a FIFA World Cup, and it's certainly got to be a bit disheartening, especially, as I said, considering they won the Euros 5 years ago. But here we go. We are ready to begin the final draw for the FIFA World Cup from Washington, D.C. Glad to have you with us as we bring you live commentary and reactions as this gets underway at the Kennedy Center. Donald Trump is in the building, as well as Pierluigi Collina, Robbie Williams, Andrea Bocelli, Shaquille O'Neal, and many, many other stars of both sport and entertainment. We are ready to go here from Washington, D.C., and I get I get the feeling they're going to give this a big intro. You can see the lights moving on the stage, and they are starting with Andrea Bocelli, and this should be good. He will sing Nessun Dorma, and I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes so we can all enjoy this performance. He is not alone. There are multiple violinists on the stage with this world-class tenor who has become an icon of the global game in his own right a little bit. As I mentioned before, he's performed at the Champions League final twice before, performed this very song, Nessun Dorma, during the championship celebration for Leicester City in 2016, as well as the opening ceremony of the European Championship in 2021 in Rome at the Stadio Olimpico. And they've just showed, or at least on the Fox broadcast, Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, seated next to the president of the United States, Donald Trump. We've seen this friendship, some have almost called it a bromance, unfold over the past couple of years. Of course, they presented the Club World Cup trophy to Chelsea together during the final of that tournament this summer, and Trump very controversially stayed on the stage with the Chelsea team as they celebrated their victory over PSG. So we shall see how this goes. Andrea Bocelli's performance, however, something incredible to set the tone here ahead of this monumental World Cup draw. Bocelli holds that last note as he concludes his performance. There's a visual of the American flag somewhat draped around the World Cup trophy. And with that, we are all set for things to get underway here at the Kennedy Center as Infantino and Trump applaud next to each other. What a way to get things started here with the World Cup draw. Bocelli will now be escorted off stage. And Heidi Klum coming out now with Kevin Hart. Like I said, the stars of American entertainment, Hollywood showbiz, being here today, and why wouldn't they? So here we go. The introduction now from Kevin Hart and Heidi Klum after that incredible performance by Andrea Bocelli. Kevin Hart correcting himself there, correctly calling this football. Oh boy. Bit of a play there on the stigma of Americans not knowing anything about soccer. And apparently, somewhere around 1 billion people are watching this, which is fitting for a tournament of this magnitude as we continue to proceed through this introduction. Danny Ramirez out in the crowd. Actor known as Falcon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And here is Eli Manning, the first star of American sport to be featured in the course of this draw, and we'll see how these American athletes play into the ceremony as the proceedings unfold here today. Wycliffe John. Haiti back in the World Cup, of course. This 48 team format expanding the field to other places, some nations qualifying, I believe, for the first time in their entire history. And now they're showing they're showing a video package that really emphasizes the magnitude of this tournament. Of course, this is the 96th, it's not 2026 yet, but this will be the 96th anniversary of the FIFA World Cup. Tournament was first played in 1930 in Uruguay, and the next edition then, 2030, is going to be the Centennial, and that is going to be hosted primarily by Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, but they're also going to have centennial games, centenary matches in Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. But that is 5 years from now. Right now, we are focused on 2026 as we see some of the great moments in World Cup history, including the final of 2022. I keep wanting to say last year, but of course, this tournament takes place every 4 years. So, last edition, perhaps. South Africa. I'm just saying what I can to describe this video package. Brazil and Mario Götze scoring the game-winning goal in 2014, as well as Bobby Moore for England in 1966. And let's just be completely honest, this may seem kind of weird if you're not watching an actual feed of the draw along with this. This is just commentary, again, as the actual ceremony proceeds. But Heidi Klum is back out now with Kevin Hart. Everybody does remember their first World Cup. Mine was 2018, Russia. Here we go. Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, now introduced by Heidi Klum, and that this is a sign that things are perhaps about to get well and truly underway. The kingpin, the man they may call the man you may call the leader of the sporting world. Am I being a bit of a glazer? Perhaps. But here we go. Gianni Infantino to speak for the first time in in this ceremony, who we previously saw next to Donald Trump, and we'll get into that, of course, as this goes on. This is set for 2 hours, so I think we're going to see quite a bit of spectacle as this goes on. We've already had Andrea Bocelli, Heidi Klum, and Kevin Hart. We're not even 15 minutes into this thing, so we shall see. FIFA, the official happiness provider for humanity. Quite a shining endorsement from Mr. Infantino. Here we go. It's already starting. Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States, seated next to the First Lady Melania, and he gets a shout out from Infantino, and so begins the semi-political element of this draw. Of course, it is part of the FIFA president's job to to network with the heads of state, and we're now seeing Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, and Mark Carney, the prime minister of Canada. So all three heads of state are in the building here in Washington, D.C. for this massive sporting, well, it's not a sporting event, it's the prelude to a sporting event. But this will be massive. This is to determine who plays who. And make no mistake about it, this truly is something monumental. I mean, as an American, I remember 2017, I believe it was, when they awarded the World Cup to the United States, and I remember thinking, oh, 2026, that's a really long ways away. That's what, 9 years? And now here we are, December 5th, 2025, uh, and we are seeing the final draw take place in Washington, D.C. Largest World Cup in history, longest World Cup in history up to this point. It will take place from the 11th of June to the 19th of July next year and feature 48 teams. And perhaps I'm taking words out of Mr. Infantino's mouth a little bit. FIFA expecting 7 million fans to turn up for this. Anyone who can try and get a ticket is certainly going to want to. Certainly going to take that opportunity. And Infantino once again trying to relate to the American populace. 104 Super Bowls at once. And, not to get too opinionated on this, but I feel like I feel it's a bit condescending, a little bit patronizing. There's this whole stereotype of, oh, Americans don't know anything about soccer, but, the best player in the world, Lionel Messi, is in Miami. He's competing for the national title, the MLS Cup, tomorrow. So this isn't 1994. This isn't that age of American ignorance. The MLS is now one of the biggest sports leagues in America. If this were a cricket tournament, like we had the T20 World Cup in Florida and New York last year, then I could see it. But soccer has certainly established a foothold in the United States of America. It may not have displaced the NFL, but it certainly exists, and it certainly has a fandom. Infantino says he's going to try something that's probably never happened. Let's see what it is. I think I know where he's going with this. Highlighting the presence of people from all three of the host nations. Infantino is nothing if not a showman. And the USA chant begins at his direction. It doesn't work the same, does it? He's now, for those who cannot see what's going on, who don't have a feed with them, Infantino now trying to get the Canadians to chant Canada, 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 and the same for the Mexicans, and it just doesn't seem to, it's not the same as the USA chant. But here we go. Infantino's first speech of what will probably be many wraps up, and we wait to see what is next. Robbie Williams and Nicole Scherzinger apparently out next as Heidi Klum and Kevin Hart rejoin Infant. They join Infantino on the stage here, and Fox going to a commercial break. So it has begun. The 2026 FIFA World Cup final draw is underway at the Kennedy Center for those of you who may be just joining us. And we've had a great performance of Nessun Dorma from Andrea Bocelli. We've seen a speech, a rather cringeworthy speech, if we're being honest, from FIFA President Gianni Infantino. We've seen Donald Trump, we've seen Mark Carney and Claudia Scheinbaum, and now we wait. Once again, commercial break here. It is 12:21 in Washington, D.C. as we wait for the actual draw to get underway. We've just had introductions and video packages and ceremony, performances, spectacle, what have you, and we're going to have another performance coming up next. Robbie Williams, was who performed during the opening ceremony of the 2018 World Cup in Russia, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he infamously flipped off the camera during that performance. So let's hope it didn't cost him And it didn't, as we can see, cost him future appearances with FIFA events. So let's just hope he remembers to maintain decorum here today. Once again, commercial break on Fox. They might be doing something with Gianni Infantino and Heidi Klum and Kevin Hart. I don't know. But right now there's a commercial for Fear Factor with Johnny Knoxville. So we wait. And again, of course, the other big story in the soccer world, and you could think what could possibly be bigger than the draw for the World Cup? Well, nothing, but something that comes close is that Lionel Messi tomorrow has an opportunity to win the MLS Cup for, I believe, the first time in his career as Inter Miami take on uh, Vancouver in the MLS Cup final. And now I think we're back on the air, so here we go. Robbie Williams and Nicole Scherzinger to come to the stage now. Here we go. And as I did with Andrea Bocelli, I will try to remain silent so you can enjoy this performance. Nicole Scherzinger joining Williams on the stage now. I don't think I'd be alone in saying I hope they get to the draw after this, but maybe I am. So that is the conclusion of this performance from Robbie Williams and Nicole Scherzinger. And we see what's next as Heidi Klum and Kevin Hart rejoin them on stage. So I believe that is the official anthem for the World Cup. And what are we doing now? Here we go. Here we go. I take it this is going to be the awarding of the FIFA Peace Prize, and we will see if the widespread speculation is indeed correct as to whether or not this will end up being Donald Trump. I don't see who else Infantino would award it to. I think this is the whole purpose. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see this again when when the 2030 draw rolls around, but I could be wrong. As we see a video package here. And we will no doubt be rejoined by Mr. Infantino, perhaps with his newfound, I don't know, best friend, the FIFA Peace Prize. Here it is. An individual who has taken extraordinary action for peace. Here we go. We honor a dynamic leader who has engaged in diplomatic efforts, who has championed the unifying power of football on the world stage. Yup. The Honorable Donald J. Trump is the inaugural recipient of the FIFA Peace Prize. And now the package continues, showing him with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as well as the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Again, this is a sports channel, not a political channel, so don't expect much biting, opinionated commentary, but here we go. Infantino, some may not know this, Gianni Infantino was actually at the inauguration in January, and he was seen in one of the back rows in the Capitol Rotunda as the ceremony unfolded. And there is a clip of him walking out with Infantino to present that Club World Cup trophy to Chelsea this past July at MetLife Stadium. So here we go, the FIFA Peace Prize, and there's obviously going to be a physical award. I'm interested to see what it looks like. Oh my. That is quite an impressive award. that is going to be bestowed by President Infantino. For those who cannot see it, it's hands reaching up, touching a globe. It's a bit like the World Cup trophy, but it also isn't. Infantino will return to the stage. Will no doubt make a speech. Here we go. The very first, we'll see if he'll be the very last. That will be the true test of the integrity of this award. And there he is, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, the WWE Hall of Famer, Donald Trump, making his way out to accept the FIFA Peace Prize from Gianni Infantino. Now he will say a few words, I take it. And there's a medal as well. And a certificate. Annually. This will be presented annually, so says Mr. Infantino. And this is the very first time that it has ever been presented. So we can expect another one of these in late 2026, I guess. We'll see who goes home with that and whether or not there will be a two-time repeat winner. The FIFA Peace Prize, football unites the world. He says the whole thing every time. It's interesting. It's a nice looking certificate. I'll give him that. If I may say two words, says Infantino, then launches into a speech. And the speech continues. Uh, so the dead air, I know, is a bit weird if you don't have a live feed of this that you're watching along with this stream. This is what we want from a leader, he says. Infantino finishes his speech, and now we will hear from the President of the United States, Donald Trump. This whole thing continues with the jokes about, it's called soccer, and I don't know, it just gets somewhat tiresome. Trump giving a shout out to Melania, who is sitting somewhere in the back of the theater. Did they really have to do this during the draw? Like they couldn't have done this in a separate ceremony at the White House. It just seems like it's politicizing things a bit too much. Trump's speech concludes. He will not take the trophy back with them. They leave it on the pedestal as we wait for whatever is to come next. And personally, I'm hoping that it is the actual draw part of this draw because we have 48 teams to sort into 12 groups. It's going to take a while. Heidi Klum is back on the stage. And we have another video package highlighting again. She talked about coaches. I think that's maybe going to be the theme of this one. Diego Maradona shown. Yeah, I think this is about managers. Bobby Moore shown once again. I mean it is a 2-hour show, right? You do have to pad it out a bit, but I also do wish they would just get to the draw. But we continue. Maybe I'm being a bit too opinionated for a commentator, but this isn't, as much as we may brand ourselves, this isn't a big multinational sporting network. This is one guy doing simulations on a YouTube channel with 560 subscribers. But here we go. Lionel Scaloni coming out now, the manager of the World Cup winning side from Argentina. Oh, and he has the World Cup with him. So that's why they've left the pedestal up. There is the trophy itself, brought out by the man who led the country, who will have to defend it coming up this summer. And he will now talk about the final of 2022. Short speech from Lionel Scaloni, who has brought out the World Cup trophy. And now Danny Ramirez back out in the crowd. Luis Felipe Scolari, now being interviewed by Danny Ramirez, uh, manager of the Brazil side that won the 2002 World Cup. Ramirez talking about how, as well, how watching 2002, not 2022, but the 2002 World Cup led him into being a soccer fan. No translation being provided here by the for uh, those speaking in other languages, which I find a bit interesting, but it also emphasizes, how international this truly is, and it's not just America watching this, even though they may be the hosts. And according to the BBC, we are, and I quote, we're now within about 12 minutes of the draw actually starting. So we will have the actual proceedings getting underway at about 1 p.m. Eastern. They've, of course, brought out the trophy. And Ramirez now going into the ticket sales, sends it back to Heidi Klum on the stage. And I think this will be about the host cities. Yep. 16 host cities will be, well, hosting the 2026, oh man, World Cup. And they are as follows: Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver in Canada, Dallas, Texas, Guadalajara, Mexico, Houston, Texas, Kansas City, Mexico City, Monterrey, Mexico, Atlanta, Boston, Miami, New York, New Jersey, which will be the venue for the final, Philadelphia, and Toronto. So now talking about the World Cups that Mexico previously hosted, 1970 and 1986, and the stories that those tournaments told. And now into 1994, the final won by Brazil in the 1994 World Cup. Final was on the West Coast then. It will be held on the East Coast now at MetLife Stadium, the same venue which hosted the Club World Cup final earlier this summer. And this is, of course, Canada's first time hosting a FIFA World Cup. And again, Vancouver and Toronto will be the host cities there. So America, with the vast majority of the host stadiums, Canada has 2, Mexico has 3, and the United States having the rest of the 11. And now, as we come back from this video package, there are some pedestals that have been set up on the stage. Gianni Infantino is back, and I think, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to get into the main event of the evening, or afternoon. The pedestals for the draw are shaped like the World Cup logo. Interesting design choice there for FIFA, and of course, the balls are in the pots, so we are almost ready to go after over 45 minutes of spectacle introductions, the Peace Prize awarded to Donald Trump. We are ready to begin, I think. And of course, before any draw. They have to go through the format and everything, but Infantino has just mentioned assistance, and he just said, I used to do draws in my previous life. That is a reference, of course, to Infantino's time as the General Secretary of UEFA. And I remember watching Infantino conduct these not World Cup, Champions League draws, and then later seeing him elected as, seeing that he had been elected as the president of FIFA, now on top of the world of soccer governance. And Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, has been brought out here, and I think that it would appear that he's going to take part in the actual drawing. Claudia Sheinbaum is out here as well, the Mexican president. Will we see all three heads of state, or is Trump off the stage for the day? He is not. Donald Trump is coming back out, and it looks like the inaugural recipient of the FIFA Peace Prize. He initially declines to shake Infantino's hand. He's led over to one of the pedestals, one of the containers, I suppose, for the balls for the draw. And here we go, I think. And Infantino will now ask a question to the three heads of state. So we will hear from the other two heads of state for the first time here. Two-thirds of the country watched the last World Cup, says Mark Carney. And of course, it's been in the news everywhere. You know, all the tensions between the three nations, the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Trump, of course, the deportations with Mexico, and then the dispute with Canada over whether or not they would become the 51st state, which led to a general election being held there this year, uh, which gave Carney the prime minister's office. But we will um, digress from politics now as we hear Claudia Sheinbaum speak. But these three North American nations now will have to put aside their differences and stage the biggest tournament in the world. One of the two biggest sporting events there is, the other one, of course, being the Summer Olympics. And now we move to Trump. Oh, yes, and of course, I somehow neglected to mention this despite being an American. This is the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, and they will host the FIFA World Cup. So it's going to be a year of great celebration, and this big tournament adding to that. Trump now talking about Pele, who of course made his name in the United States with the New York Cosmos. Maybe the first, arguably the first big megastar of the game in the United States, and this was years before hosting the World Cup and having the MLS, and now Lionel Messi, another big megastar, playing for Miami. Trump once again emphasizing the ticket sales here from FIFA and the speeches of the host of the heads of state end. And here we go. Infantino instructing the three heads of state on how to conduct a draw. Oh man. So this is just a demonstration. Infantino picking out a ball that just says FIFA. And they haven't explained the format or anything. Are they just launching into this? Okay, so they have not explained the format or anything, and we're underway. The 2026 World Cup draw has begun. The Prime Minister of Canada takes out the Canadian ball, and of course the host nations. It's already been predetermined which groups they are going to go into, and it will be Claudia Scheinbaum's turn now. Canada placed into Group B. This has already been determined from the start, and predictably, Scheinbaum will draw out Mexico. And Mexico City, if I'm not mistaken, will be hosting the first match of the tournament on the 11th of June. So Mexico go into Group A, and the USA into Group D. Uh, and Trump will draw out USA. So there we have it. The First Nations have been drawn, and I kind of doubt that they're going to keep the heads of state up there for the whole thing. I think this was just for show. And a bit of a photo up there for the three leaders and the leader of FIFA. And they're going to do it again in front of the draw equipment. So yes, that was clearly just a demonstration. I wondered why they weren't explaining the format and everything. I've never seen a draw done where they didn't explain how it was going to work beforehand, but this is now just ceremonial spectacle. And now Infantino insists upon taking a selfie with the three leaders. That is, I think this is going to transcend just sports news. Heidi Klum returns to the stage, and we go apparently to another commercial break. And apparently we're going to have a live performance from Lauryn Hill and then finish out the draw. But we have, it's a bit like the ceremonial first pitch in baseball, you could say. If you are just joining us, President Donald J. Trump, Claudia Scheinbaum, the President of Mexico, and the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney drawing their respective nations into their respective groups. Mexico placed in Group A, Canada placed in Group B, and the United States placed in Group D as we prepare for the rest of the draw to continue here. And we are now almost an hour into the show. They truly are saving the best for last. Again, there is going to be one more live performance, and then we will see who goes where. The real stuff about to start very, very soon. So stay tuned here to Ultrasport, as we continue to bring our reactions, our commentary, our analysis of the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw. We thank you for joining us. And on the Fox feed right now, they're showing a commercial for tomorrow's MLS Cup final. Inter Miami set to play the Vancouver Whitecaps, and that is going to be an opportunity for Lionel Messi to win his first MLS Cup, if I'm not mistaken, since he came to Miami a couple of years ago. Could be a very big moment. Miami undoubtedly has to be the strongest team in the MLS because it's not just Messi. It's Jordi Alba, it's Luis Suarez. It is a very strong, almost a European caliber side they have in Miami as investment and relevance continue to build for Major League Soccer. And again, the Big Ten Championship taking place tomorrow as well for those that may follow college football. Indiana versus Ohio State, who beat Michigan for the first time since 2019 last week. See, I do know about American sports. We are back on Fox, and we've got a panel. Alexi Lawless with Thierry Henry, Stu Holden, and Rob Stone are all back. We're going to hear some more analysis, I guess, from the talking heads at Fox. And apparently we are 15 minutes away from the start of this draw. The waiting continues. Lauren Hill will perform up next, and then we will have the draw, and of course the village people apparently are going to finish this out. But right now we are in a bit of a break, I guess, as the draw, as we continue to wait for the draw from the Kennedy Center in Washington. And the Fox Sports talking heads are actually echoing my personal sentiments that we we want to get this underway. I you know, it's 1 p.m. and we continue to wait. Thierry Henry talking about his experience in the World Cup. Of course, as I mentioned, I am watching the feed on Fox. Uh, but we continue to wait. Again, apologies for the dead air. I don't really have anything else to show. We continue to wait for this draw to get underway, so I'm taking a bit of a break. The performances have not resumed yet. We continue to wait. And apparently tomorrow we will find out where and when everything is going to happen. We're back with Kevin Hart inside the theater at the Kennedy Center. Lauren Hill to come to the stage now. And again, for those who may just be tuning in, yes, Kevin Hart is here. For those who may just be tuning in, this is meant to be watched alongside an actual broadcast. You don't have to watch it alongside an actual broadcast of the draw, but you'll get the full effect then. This is just a guy talking without it. So I will try to be as descriptive as possible now that I know people are actually watching. But yes, right now we have yet another performance. Lauren Hill, someone I personally have not heard of uh, prior to today. Seems to be a rapper of some sort. But we wait. "1:03 p.m. in the nation's capital, and the performances continue. It is something. Thank you. Yes, this is a screenshot from FIFA 22. I blurred out everything except the trophy and put text over it. So thank you there. We it has already been a very American draw uh, show for a tournament being hosted in America. We have had, of course, the polarizing figure known as Donald Trump, but we've also had celebrities like Kevin Hart and Heidi Klum, former judge on America's Got Talent. We had a performance from Andrea Bocelli, which isn't very American, but is still a big show. We had Robbie Williams. We've had quite a lot. And the one thing we haven't had is the actual draw. The spectacle continues, but three nations have been drawn so far in what was more of a photo op for Infantino, Trump, Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, and Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican President, as they drew out their respective nations and placed them into their groups. Yeah, fun fact that I mentioned earlier: Robbie Williams performed at the opening ceremony of the 2018 World Cup, and very infamously flipped off the camera as that was going on. So he didn't do that. He didn't do that today. Not that I saw, at least. So clearly, it didn't terminate his employment with FIFA for all time. But it's still an interesting semi-factoid. Yes, indeed. And I must say, it's nice to have someone to go back and forth with in the chat. Not a very big network, despite all our LARPing as one. So they've played multiple songs now. This is kind of taking on the length of a Super Bowl halftime show. This is at least set to go until 2 o'clock here in the United States. And they still haven't gotten to the draw. And for reference, for context, there are 48 teams that they have to place into 12 groups for the largest and the longest World Cup so far. It's a 5-hour time difference for. Wait, no. What? Is G? I apologize. Is GMT the same as Central European Time, CET? I feel like I should know that, but I gotta ask you. And yes, it is the largest World Cup in history. 48 teams competing, which has opened up new avenues. So it's the same time as London then, same time zone as London. If so, then that is a 5 hour time difference. So it's 6 o'clock for you. Yeah, 5 hour time difference. So it's evening for you, which is in Europe this is prime time. If you're in America, the host nation, you would have to stay home from work in order to watch this live. And to quote Des Lynam, shouldn't you be at work? The performance continues. But yes, this is the largest World Cup in history. It will feature 48 teams, and also the longest, which will take place across 5 weeks. Starts on the 11th of June, finishes out on the 19th of July. 5 weeks. I'm in Florida. It's winter for everyone else, not for me. But here we go. The performance has ended. Oh man, Carly Lloyd is here, and this one is fitting because the United States women's national team has, you know, it's arguably it is the most successful nation in women's soccer history. So I'm actually surprised they haven't been featured more during the whole course of this show. But I assume they're getting the stuff for the draw ready. It's 109, and maybe I should stop mentioning the time, but I don't know. But this is going to be the biggest and best World Cup, says Carly Lloyd. We shall see if that assessment is correct. And again, this is the first World Cup in the United States of America since 1994, and the first one in Mexico since 1986. No, there's a separate. No, there's a men's World Cup which takes place next year, and then the women's World Cup takes place the year after that, which would be, the same year as the Rugby World Cup and the Cricket World Cup. So the Women's World Cup is separate, takes place after the year after the Men's World Cup. If you're in the United Kingdom, you would have heard about, for example, the Lionesses. But the England men's team, the Three Lions, have been they're one of the favorites to win here. Uh, Obviously, they have a bit of a curse in international competition. Uh, but they have come second place in the previous two European Championships. We'll see how they can do in the 2026 World Cup. Heidi Klum says we're ready for the rest of the draw. Yeah, I was watching that as well. For this will be the big reveal that I am an England supporter. But so yeah, it's been heartbreak after heartbreak. But we'll see how it ends up this year. I think Spain have been favored to win by an American sports betting company known as DraftKings. And now we're doing a bit of a vignette starring Gianni Infantino. Sepp Blatter was not this much of a showman. Most certainly not. Infantino mentions FIFA World Cup 2026 ambassadors, and of course, there are American sports stars in the building. We've got Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. We've got Tom Brady, arguably one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time, as well as Shaquille O'Neal from the NBA. And yes, the Peace Prize is a new thing, and it has been awarded to Donald Trump, and I wonder whether or not it will be awarded next year. I don't really want to get political on this channel, but I don't know. It's a bit of a bromance they have going on there, and as we all saw very infamously, Donald Trump breaking protocol during the Club World Cup final last year and staying on the stage with Chelsea as they celebrated their victory over PSG. Matthew McConaughey is now. We just saw him, and I've been commentating. No, this has been going on, I think, since, well, I don't know, concurrent, same time. Don't get too political. This is a sports channel. Salma Hayek is now being featured in this vignette. So again, very American, bringing in all the not sports stars, the Hollywood actors and international celebrities. Again, Kevin Hart and Heidi Klum have been taking us through most of this. So Rio Ferdinand continues to ask for advice from Hollywood actors on, and obviously this is something they've pre-taped and it's for comedy, but like Hollywood actors, not the best place to look for World Cup draw advice. But here he comes. They finished the vignette, and we are now ready, finally, at 1:14 p.m. for the draw for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And I am convinced that this could have been a 1 hour show, but we are now an hour and 15 minutes into it, just getting set for the actual draw. Rio Ferdinand joins Heidi Klum and Kevin Hart as we get set. Indeed, it is not a small thing. Rio Ferdinand says, "We've got to stop calling it soccer." And I've mentioned this throughout the broadcast that they keep playing up this whole stereotype of Americans not being knowledgeable about soccer. And I went on a bit of a rant about it earlier that this is not 1994. We have the MLS. We have Lionel Messi playing in the MLS Cup final tomorrow. Soccer culture in America has certainly grown, as Samantha Johnson will now come out to join Rio Ferdinand. Samantha Johnson, a women's soccer player who has played for the Chicago Red Stars and the Utah Royals of the NWSL. Currently with Soyo, a French team, at least according to Wikipedia. Rio Ferdinand now at a school, taking draw advice from kids who are apparently going to train him in how to do the draw. And now we are going to actually get into things and hear how this is going to work. So we have 48 teams that are going to be split into 4 groups, and they've been divided into 4 pots. This is a bit of a learning experience for me as well. And as always, the pots are based on the FIFA World Rankings. So you have the best teams in pot one and the worst teams in pot four, as well as pot one contains the host nations. And of course, I should have mentioned, pot four has the placeholders for the playoff teams. There are still 6 spots up for grabs in this World Cup tournament. It's the largest World Cup ever, so there is still qualifying spots to be handed out, and we will know everyone in March of 2026. It's a very extended process, but we are doing the draw here in December, as is usually tradition. And again, Mexico has gone to Group A because they will be hosting the opening match. Canada's in Group B, the United States in Group D. The qualifying process, I don't know, honestly. Um, they just did the draw a couple weeks ago for the qualifying, but what they're going to do is they had the European qualifiers for UEFA, and there's like redemption consolation stuff. 12 teams for UEFA have already qualified. There's 16 spots for Europe, so there's going to be 4 more, and there's also 2 spots for an intercontinental playoff. So it's a bit of a second chance thing for the better teams that didn't make it the first time around. And yes, European teams will be uh, 16 of the 48 uh, sides in this. And additionally, as they continue to go through the process here, no 2 teams from the same confederation, in layman's terms, that means continent, no 2 teams from the same continent can be drawn in the same group, except for European teams, because there's so many of them, as I just said, 16 out of 48. And we now have these English school children conducting a mock draw in this vignette, and to get a bit candid, this this is what I used to do as a kid. Long story, but he has been thoroughly instructed, and with that, at 1:19 p.m., an hour and 20 minutes into this, I hope we are finally ready for the draw to begin on a snowy afternoon in Washington, D.C. Right, so I didn't get all of that. I was commentating, so if I missed something in the procedure, that will come out as this goes on. But I think we're ready, finally. There will be some guests brought out. Yes, Heidi, we have been waiting quite a long time. Yes, it's in Washington D.C. It and now we're gonna have Wayne Gretzky come out, the legendary hockey player in the NHL. But yes, this is being held in Washington D.C., the nation's capital. Wayne Gretzky comes out, the greatest hockey player of all time, and yeah, we are in lieu of you might usually have a bunch of great soccer players, but America has a very unique sporting culture compared to the rest of the world. So we've got American sports stars coming out to conduct the draw here today. Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees is now coming out, the single season home run record holder in the American League. He will join Wayne Gretzky. And next we will have Shaquille O'Neal, the, the former NBA champion with the Lakers, coming out now to join Gretzky and Judge. Oh my! Dwarfing Kevin Hart as he steps out onto the stage and probably most, yes, and he certainly does tower over most of the other guys out here. And finally, Tom Brady, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time in the NFL. Although there has been a bit of controversy there with the whole Deflategate scandal, but I don't want to get political. But Tom Brady is out here, formerly a quarterback, now a broadcaster, a commentator for the NFL on Fox. We haven't done any NFL this season, simulations that is. It remains to be seen as to whether we will. And finally, at 1:22 p.m. Eastern, I think we're almost ready. Again, this could have been a 1 hour show. They didn't need to do the performances. They didn't need to do the Peace Prize. They could have done that at the White House. We've sat here for quite a while, but we're finally going to find out who goes where. Aaron Judge now being asked about the teams he favors. Likes Argentina. Oh boy. Samantha Johnson says this is going to be a fun draw. Finally going over to Tom Brady. They ask him how big a deal this is for North America, and he says, and I quote, "Certainly incredible to have this incredible event. I hope I don't sound like that. Will there be any teams from Antarctica this year? No, unfortunately not. Nor will there be Vatican City or Monaco, much to my disappointment. But here we go, I think. I hope." This is very Hollywood. They're playing up the entertainment, but I think we are finally ready. Are we ready? We are ready. Teams in pot one are now going to be highlighted. We already saw the United States, Mexico, and Canada be drawn out and placed into their respective groups, but since I can't be bothered to sit through this package, let me see if I can pull up a list of the teams. So pot one, we have the three hosts. There's 12 teams in each pot. So it's the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And then the rest of the teams, Spain, Argentina, France, England, Brazil, Portugal, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. So, and again, it is very America. Again, they are doing this based on the world rankings. And Argentina, of course, the defending champions in there, the team that everyone will be watching, as well as France, who have made it to the final 2 World Cups in a row, hoping to make it 3. One, of course, in 2018 with the aid of Kylian Mbappe. England looking for their first win in any international tournament since 1966. Will the long age of heartbreak end? We shall see. We have Brazil, we have Portugal, of course, led by Cristiano Ronaldo. The Netherlands, who last made it to a World Cup final in 2010. Belgium, led by Kevin De Bruyne and Romelu Lukaku. And finally, Germany, who, of course, won the World Cup in 2014 off of Mario Götze's not overtime, but extra time goal. They have introduced the teams, and here we go. And yes, they are separating the top four teams so that they've seeded them so that the top four teams. I don't know. It's very complicated. This is I don't know. But they've separated them by seeding. They can only meet in the semifinals: England, France, Spain, and Argentina. England can only beat Spain and Argentina in the semifinals if they win their group. They can only meet Spain or Argentina in the semifinals. American style seeding. And this is a concept that Americans will be unfamiliar with. We don't really have draws over here. We do have the NBA draft lottery, but other than that, Tom Brady will get us underway. And at 1:28 p.m., the draw for the FIFA World Cup has officially begun, and they're playing music over it. I don't like that, but here we go. Brazil, the first team drawn. And is this going to go in order? The only team to appear in every World Cup, Brazil. So they are going to do this in order. Brazil go into Group C, led by Carlo Ancelotti. Next team, drawn here by Tom Brady. Struggling a bit perhaps to open the balls. It will be Germany going into Group E. This is the moment, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us. It is here that we find out. This is it. It is here that we find out who goes where. Germany again into Group E. Tom Brady forgets to stir the balls beforehand, as is tradition. Up next, we have the Netherlands going into Group F. Memphis Depay and company, the three-time runners-up, the next team to be drawn. F1, Netherlands. Some clear inexperience here from these American sports stars, as Belgium are next. They will be drawn into Group G. Belgium were third place in 2018, their best finish ever. And next here into Group H, it will be Spain. Spain, the one of the favorites to win the tournament this year, the defending European champions after defeating England in 2024, and world champions the last time in 2010. Argentina, France, England, and Portugal remain. And it will be Argentina drawn next. Argentina, the defending champions, go into Group I. This is the team that everyone, of course, has their eyes on. It will likely be Messi's last World Cup, although they were saying that 4 years ago, so you never know. It's a bit like pro wrestling. You never know for certain when a guy is retired. Argentina again go into. Oh, my apologies. They go into J. They go into Group J because of the seeding thing. So I jumped to conclusions there. Argentina into Group J, not Group I. Next to be drawn is France. And will the seeding affect this? I don't want to jump out too far. But France, the runners-up in Qatar, France will go into Group I. And of course the 2018 world champions. England and Portugal remain. And so for our viewer in the UK, it will be Portugal going into Group K and England going into Group L. So Messi in J, Ronaldo in K. 7th World Cup in a row for Portugal. And finally, the last team to be drawn in pot 1. We'll see if that's lucky, unlucky, or irrelevant for them. It is England going into Group L. And Tom Brady really struggling to open this final ball. But there it is. It is certain now England go into Group L. Again, England go into Group L. England with a pure clean sheet, I believe, through their time in the European qualifiers. A very good omen for this upcoming World Cup. That is it for Pot A, and we will move on to, sorry, not Pot A, Pot 1. It's a bit confusing. And we will move on to Pot B in a matter of moments. And coming up next, we are going to see who takes on Mexico in the opening match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Mexico City, of course, hosting that inaugural match on June 11th with a capacity of 87,523, a record soccer attendance of 119,853. Banter continues. Samantha Johnson trying to keep things professional as we wait to move on to pot number 2. And a look at the teams in pot 2. They haven't gone over them yet. I will read the list now. They almost forgot to go over them. It is Croatia, Morocco, Colombia, Uruguay, Switzerland, Japan, Senegal, Iran, South Korea, Ecuador, Austria, and Australia in pot 2. And we will certainly be looking to see where Australia goes. I know that much because this is a channel that does a considerable amount of Australian sport. Croatia, of course, were the runners-up in the 2018 FIFA World Cup, and Morocco went on quite an impressive run as well in Qatar. They got to the semifinals, I believe. Morocco also set to partially host the 2030 World Cup, and they are preparing later this month to host the Africa Cup of Nations. Yeah, Iran is a bit of a player in the sport, I suppose. You know, you mostly hear what's going on in Europe, and you don't really think about the rest of the world because that's sort of where all the good stuff seems to be concentrated there, and South America. But yes, Iran in pot 2, they are ranked 20th in the world. South Korea ranked 22nd, Japan 18th, Australia 26th. But of course, this doesn't necessarily mean, with all due respect to these nations, that they will go very far. It all depends on how the tournament shakes out. But we are ready to begin pot 2. Teams from the same confederation can't be drawn in the same group, except for Europe. The 3 South American teams cannot be in the same group as Argentina or Brazil. And I said we're going to find out who Mexico plays. I might be wrong about that because they're showing the pot 2 on screen. They're showing the pot 2 slot in third. So I don't know if this is going to be the team that plays Mexico, but we will see who joins them at least. And it is Korea Republic, also known as South Korea. South Korea goes into Group A. Reached the semifinals in 2002, which they hosted along with Japan. And now we find out who joins Canada in Group B. It is Switzerland going to join Canada here. Switzerland have not reached the quarterfinals of this tournament since 1954. Not a very good record for them. And then, of course, this is a much bigger tournament this year. Next team will join Brazil in Group C, unless it's South American, in which case they will join the United States in Group D. Let's see who it is. It is Morocco, an African side, so they will be headed to Group C along with Brazil. First African team to reach the semifinals, an emerging power in the world of soccer. Morocco versus Brazil will start off Group C. And now we find out, and this is something that people are going to have eyes on, who will be joining the United States in Group D? Who will it be? It is Australia into Group D, and there's cheering in the halls. It is going to be the United States taking on Australia in Group D. So, to any Australian viewers who are either watching this now or who will see it later, Australia into Group D against the United States. Group E now, and that will be Ecuador. They will get into Group E because they are not joining a South American team. They go with Germany. So that is one South American team down, two to go, Colombia and Uruguay, and the other one that has been drawn, of course, are the defending champions, Argentina. Into Group F now to join the Netherlands. It will be Japan. Netherlands versus Japan, a matchup we can look forward to in Group C of this World Cup. As we are now halfway through Pot 2. Croatia, Colombia, Uruguay, Senegal, Iran, and Austria, the remaining teams in this pot. Joining Belgium in Group G, we will have Iran. Iran's 7th appearance in the tournament and 4th in a row. They go into Group G with Belgium. Now to join Spain in Group H, it will be Uruguay. So two of the hosts for 2030. Yes, national team players are required to be from their respective nations. Interestingly enough, that does not apply to the managers, which I have some feelings about that. But yeah, so you can have a manager from Germany leading the United States of America, but yes, players in a national team, you have to be from that nation. Who will be joining France in Group I? 4 teams remain. It will be Senegal into Group I with the defending runners-up. 3 groups remain. We are 3/4 of the way through Pot 2 in this draw. So next we find out who's going to go and face Argentina. And that's going to be quite a challenge for whoever has to face the defending champions. Will it be Croatia? Will it be Austria? It cannot be Colombia. It is Austria to join Argentina in Group J, and there was a there was a bit of a murmur in the theater as their name was pulled out, and I wonder whether or not that was the officials from Austria expressing dismay that they have to go up against Messi and company. Croatia and Colombia remain. Who is going into Group K to take on Ronaldo and Portugal? It will be Colombia. So into Group L will go Croatia, and England then will have an opportunity to get revenge for that semi-final loss in the 2018 World Cup. So Colombia join Group K, and Croatia join Group L with England, and with that, we are officially halfway through the draw for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The groups continue to shape up here as our live coverage continues. Glad to have you with us this afternoon or evening if you are in Europe. So we move now to pot 3, or we will in a moment, and I will quickly go over the teams that will be competing in pot 3. We've got some interesting sides here. Norway, for example. Norway are in pot 3. They have been led to greater glory and relevance by one Erling Haaland. Also, Panama, Egypt, who have Mohamed Salah, Algeria, Scotland, who have qualified for the first time in, I believe, this century at least, Paraguay, Tunisia, the Ivory Coast, Uzbekistan, Qatar, the host of the last World Cup, Saudi Arabia, and South Africa, the host in 2010. So we go to pot 3, and I've already gone through the list of teams, but now they will. And here we go. And I'll certainly be interested to see how far Norway can go in this tournament. Haaland, of course, will be the man everyone is watching and is the man they credit with getting them to this showpiece event. Egypt also, as I said, have Mohamed Salah. We see Algeria now. Scotland, who played the opening match of Euro 2024 last year against Germany. Paraguay from South America. Tunisia, who will also be competing in the Africa Cup of Nations in a few weeks. Cote d'Ivoire, known in English as the Ivory Coast. They've had some appearances at the World Cup. Uzbekistan, who played in the Olympics in 2024. Qatar, as I said, the hosts of the previous tournament. They have managed to find their way into a second tournament, so that's 2 in a row for them, and I believe only the second in their history, which is why I bring it up. Saudi Arabia, who will be hosting in 2034, and South Africa, who hosted in 2010. And with that, we're ready to go back to the stage. Here we go. And Samantha Johnson will elaborate here on the particulars. Again, the South American teams. Not more than one team from another confederation. Africa now enters that equation. We have Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, and the Ivory Coast. Senegal have already been drawn. But we're ready to go as we go to Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. Going into Group A, we will have South Africa joining Mexico and South Korea, and I believe that solidifies that South Africa will be playing the opening match of. Yes, they have just confirmed it. It will be Mexico versus South Africa in the opening match of the 2026 World Cup at the Estadio Azteca. Mexico versus South Africa. And a round of applause through the theater as that gets announced. Mexico versus South Africa. Now we move to Group B, who will be joining Canada and Switzerland. It is going to be Qatar, the hosts of last year's World Cup. Qatar coming through the fourth round of qualifying, and I believe they've had success in the AFC Asian Cup as well. They won the Asian Cup for their second title back in 2023. Paraguay cannot be drawn into Group C, so they are going to go into Group D, and I think that is going to be the first game the USA plays. They will go up against Paraguay. I think. They go into Group D. It has just been confirmed. So it will be, in fact, the United States versus Paraguay on June 12th to open the American the Americans' tenure in this tournament. Fourth of the way through now. And we will see, hopefully, who goes into Group C, but it is Cote d'Ivoire. So they will not go into Group C, they will go into Group E because, again, no two teams from the same confederation or continent can be drawn with each other. And Morocco from Africa is in Group C. So Group C skipped over twice in a row. As we take it back to Aaron Judge. Tunisia. They will go into Group F. And they join the Netherlands and Japan. Ivory Coast, by the way, joining Ecuador and Germany in Group E. So still no third team for Group C as Tunisia join the Netherlands and Japan. Egypt into Group G. Another African side will join Belgium and Iran, and they will be Belgium's first match in the tournament. Mohamed Salah, of course, the star player on the Egyptian side. And will it finally be Group C? We have Uzbekistan, Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Scotland, Norway, and Panama halfway through, and out of those six, we get Scotland. So Group C finally has its third team. Scotland of UEFA will join Brazil and Morocco. Scotland have not been in the World Cup for 28 years. First appearance for them since 1998. So now we'll go back in order, presumably, as we move now to Group H. We can have two European sides in the same group, so it could be Spain taking on Norway here, but it will instead be Saudi Arabia going into Group H to join the Spanish side and Uruguay. Saudi Arabia once again into Group H with Spain and Uruguay. Now to Group I, unless it's Algeria. And it is indeed Algeria, so they will join Group J. And we have our. Thank you for tuning in. It is confirmed now that we have Argentina's first match in their defense of the title. They will take on Algeria. And the Algerian side also joins Austria. So we have the three A's in Group J: Argentina, Algeria, and Austria. Uzbekistan will go into Group I with France and Senegal as we continue moving through pot 3. And I believe that confirms that Norway will go into Group K and Panama will go into Group L, because you can have two European teams in. Oh, whoops. Uzbekistan are into Group K, so Panama's going into Group. No, no, no. Panama's going into Group L, and Norway will be joining France and Senegal in Group I. This will be Panama. They join England and Croatia in Group L. Panama into Group L, and Norway will join France and Senegal in Group I. So that rounds out pot 3 here in the draw for the World Cup. And we move now to pot 4. Pot 4 is going to be interesting. Half of the teams in pot 4 are actual nations, and the other half are placeholders. We have 4 slots for the teams that will come through the UEFA playoffs, 2 for the teams that will come through the Intercontinental playoffs, and then the actual nations for pot 4 are Jordan, Cape Verde, Ghana, Curacao, Haiti, and New Zealand. Curacao. I apologize for any errors in pronunciation. But Curacao, the smallest country by both population and area to ever qualify for the World Cup, and that's just the 48-team format in action here. A lot more avenues to the biggest tournament in the world have been opened up here with this this new plan. So we await the continuation. Here we go. First, of course, we see Jordan of the AFC. Then it is Cabo Verde, Cape Verde. Some of the smaller nations that have qualified in this pot. We have Ghana of Africa, who have had some success in the tournament previously, and there is Curacao, the smallest nation to ever qualify for the World Cup. We also have Haiti making their second appearance in the tournament. Finally, we have New Zealand of the Oceanic Football Confederation, And that will be it for the actual countries, because the rest of it will be the winners of the playoffs. And we see Italy in the video package here. Again, if Italy fail to qualify here in 2026, that will be the third time in a row that the Azzurri have not made a World Cup, and it's rather humiliating to see this team that won the Euros in 2020. They have not been able to get to a World Cup in nearly 12 years, but the qualifying playoffs take place in March of next year. After that, we will know with certainty every team that is in the World Cup. And I have a feeling these factors are going to get even more complicated with this playoff stuff. But let's see how this goes. Again, 4 places for European teams through the UEFA qualifying playoff, and 2 for the Intercontinental playoff. Wayne Gretzky will be the last man to draw here this afternoon, and this will round out Group A. Joining Mexico, South Korea, South Africa, we will have the winner of one of the playoffs. Oh boy. And Wayne Gretzky with a pronunciation error, North Macedonia, as he says. So the winner of playoff D, drawn into Group A, joining Mexico, South Africa, and South Korea. Now Gretzky to see who will play his nation of Canada in their first match in Group B. And it's another playoff spot. It will be either Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, or Bosnia and Herzegovina. European playoff A drawn into Group B, and the winner of that playoff will take on Canada in the first match of Group B. June 12th in Toronto. Gretzky to draw again to find out who goes into Group C. Is it another playoff team? No, it is not. It is Haiti to join Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland in Group C. So that will round out the third group as we come closer to the conclusion of this final draw for the World Cup. Local time in Washington, D.C., 2:01 p.m. Glad to have you with us for our commentary of the World Cup draw as it nears its conclusion. Joining the United States, Paraguay, and Australia, we have Curacao. The pronunciation solidified there. I called it Curacao the first time around. Curacao. Oh, my apologies. They joined Group E because of the Confederation thing. They joined Germany, the Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. They skipped D because every single group must have a European team, because there are 16 teams from Europe and 12 groups in this World Cup. Now into Group F, presumably. We will have Iraq, Bolivia, or Suriname. FIFA Playoff 2, that is intercontinental, and that I think will go into Group F. Factors, he says. They are in Group I. Okay, they joined France, Senegal, and Norway because of the Confederation thing. Still no one in Group D. Jordan, Cabo Verde, Ghana, and New Zealand remain for the actual qualified teams. And up next, it's Cabo Verde, Cape Verde, drawn by Wayne Gretzky. And I believe they will be going into Group F. Again, the smallest country ever, both by population and area, to ever qualify for a FIFA World Cup. And they go into Group H to be Spain's first opponent. Halfway through pot four, six remain as Gretzky emphasizes the confusion. And the next team to be drawn will be another playoff slot. Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, or Kosovo. Another UEFA playoff spot. Playoff C. So that will round out Group D. Every group needs a European team in it, and there is the team that will join USA, Paraguay, and Australia. 5 remain to be drawn. 2 playoff sides. And it's another one here. Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, or Albania. That is the last European qualifying slot. And they will be going into Group F with the Netherlands, Japan, and Tunisia. One playoff placeholder remaining to be drawn. But right now we will see Jordan come out. They're from AFC. They cannot be placed in a Group G with Iran. So they will go to Group J with Argentina, Algeria, and Austria. I think I've gotten that right. Group J it is. So it will be Jordan to go up against Lionel Messi and company. Spots remaining in G, K, and L. Ghana and New Zealand remain, as well as the winner of the last playoff. And that last playoff slot has been drawn. Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Jamaica, or New Caledonia. Winner of Intercontinental Playoff 1. And they will be going into Group K with Portugal, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. So 2 qualified nations remain now. It is Ghana and New Zealand that will finish out this draw in this broadcast that has gone on for nearly 2.5 hours. We thank you for joining us throughout our coverage of this. We will go through the groups one more time before we sign off. But who is next? It is Ghana. And Ghana will join England, Croatia, and Panama in Group L, which means New Zealand will be going into Group G to complete the draw for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So to go through the teams once more. Group A, Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and the winner of Playoff D. Group B, Canada, the winner of Playoff A, Qatar, and Switzerland. European playoff A, that is. European playoff D in Group A. Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. Group D, the United States, Paraguay, Australia, and the winner of European Playoff C is New Zealand are now drawn into Group G. Group E will see Germany, uh, Germany with the Ivory Coast, as New Zealand go into Group G. Apologies there. Um, we'll go through this later. So we know who will be. I know this is going on, but it is finished. We now know who will be going. I'm tripping over my words. I apologize. Reset. Here we go. Group A, Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and UEFA Playoff D. Group B, Canada, Qatar, Switzerland, UEFA Playoff A. Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and Haiti. Group E, Germany, Ivory Coast, Ecuador, and Curacao. Group I, France, Senegal, Norway, and FIFA playoff number 2, the Intercontinental playoff. Group H, Spain, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, and Cabo Verde. Group D, the United States, Paraguay, Australia, and UEFA playoff C. Group F, Netherlands, Japan, Tunisia, UEFA playoff B. Group J, Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Group K, Portugal, Uzbekistan, Colombia, and FIFA Intercontinental Playoff number 1. Group L, England, Croatia, Panama, and Ghana. Group G, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. That is all for this final draw for the FIFA World Cup. Beginning June 11th, it'll be 48 teams playing for that biggest prize in the sport of soccer. We thank you for having tuned in to our live coverage. We went for almost 2.5 hours, but it is concluded from the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye and good night.